What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Lineup HQ NBA Showdown show. I'm going to walk you through some players, build you a couple lineups, and just get you on your way for this big, pivotal Game 4 in the association tonight. So, joined on this one, some familiar guys. Feels like I just talked to them. SquirrelPatrol, TJ. We're going to walk through this NBA slate because there's a lot of money out there, so might as well try to get an edge up on there somewhere. I don't know how it's going to happen, but these guys are going to tell me how it's going to happen. So, TJ, how you doing, man?
Doing well. I missed you guys, and I just felt like it's been too long, and I really needed to link back up. So didn't even need the NBA slate. I just wanted to hang out. So here we are.
Very cool. Squirrel, how you doing, man?
Good, yeah. Fancy meeting you guys here. It's good. What is it? Game 4. So yeah, it should be It's been a good series so far, and I got to say, I did the Game 3 show with Eric, and I nailed it. I had Boston -4. I had Jaylen Brown as being like the MVP captain in the winning lineup. So excited to run it back.
Good. Let's see if we can hit it today and nail it. So it's interesting. Every game is different. Game 4 comes, and it's now the pressure shifts to Golden State. Got to win this one. Can't go down 3-1. We all know what's going to happen if that happens. So it could lead to some things being a little bit different than they were last game. This is how you got to play these slates. So let's talk about DraftKings first, and we'll start off with the captain spot where you want to nail the high scoring player, but you're penalized for salary. So sometimes it's conducive to take a lower salaried guy and jam in the studs in the utilities. There's all kinds of different ways you can play it over here. I'll start off with TJ here. TJ, do you have a favorite captain tonight or a tier of guys that you're choosing from in that captain spot?
So for me today, I think it's going to be less about my favorite captain and more about my favorite fade of the day. And, we got Steph has got a pretty hefty price in comparison to his teammates. He's coming off that foot injury. We haven't seen a real Klay Thompson game yet. And so I have some interest in a little bit of a Klay Thompson at captain spot, especially on DK where we got that three-point bonus.
That's interesting. Yeah, Klay Thompson, he has the upside. We've seen it. They call him Game 6 Klay sometimes, but this is only Game 4, but this is a must win, so this might be it for him. So I don't hate that. And I don't hate it because I just said these things are all different, and a lot of it depends on, who's going to win the game, who's going to score the points is basically it. So if you can start off by nailing the winner and the type of game it is, then you can start building lineups from there. And something just tells me the world is against Golden State right now. Something just tells me maybe it's a Golden State game. This is the classic Boston letdown games, man. They just can't finish teams off, and or at least the last couple series haven't been able to finish them off in a spot like this. They always give up this game, and it goes back to Golden State 2-2, and then Boston ends up winning the next game. Like, it's just what they do. So I'm interested in that call. Squirrel, you got a favorite captain or a favorite, kind of like game script tonight or what have you?
Yeah, I was upset when you went to TJ first for the captain take because I really wanted to take Klay Thompson. I really wanted to build a team all around that. And I agree. I think it's a Golden State game. I think I like Golden State money line. I like the series to go at least 6 or 7 games. I don't think that happens without a Golden State win here.
All right. Quick question for both of you guys. Do you guys believe in the narratives around the NBA wants it to be 7 games? So, so they're going to put certain officials in there or they're going to tell them to call it. Do you believe in that, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, of course. Of course, they're moving the refs around to extend the series. Sorry, so the conspiracy theorist in me.
But also, I don't know how much of a difference it really makes.
Because if you believe in narratives, Game 7 falls on a Sunday on Father's Day, one week from this weekend. So that could be an all-time ratings type of game, if you believe in those conspiracy type of things, which would mean they
Jason
would.
Tatum wants to be home with Deuce, man. He doesn't want to be playing on
But
Father's
it might
Day.
not be Tatum's. It might not be Tatum's call. But I don't know if I believe in it. I don't know, man. I don't know. But it's just. But that's something to think about. Like, if this game is if this series is 3-1, that's not happening. So maybe the NBA making a few phone calls tonight. I don't know. So, all right. So we've got two guys who say Klay Thompson and say Golden State. So I'm not going to argue with that. I'm just plugging Klay Thompson here. Maybe this is we get the big Klay Thompson game. I can definitely get behind it. Utilities, Klay Thompson's moderately priced, not terrible. A lot of people will turn to the top priced guys, Jalen, Curry, Tatum. So we're going to save a little money there, so we can load up a little bit more at utility. Squirrel, utility spots. Who are we starting with here?
I like Jaylen Brown. I think this could be his series. So I think Golden State's going to key in on Jason Tatum. So yeah, like Jaylen Brown. If I got to pick one guy in the utility spot, it's got to be Brown. Huge game last game. So he's playing at home. That's always going to give him a boost. Got to go Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, he's been awesome this series. TJ, you got a utility guy we can go with next?
I'm with Jaylen Brown as my first one in, and I do think Golden State's going to key on Tatum, but honestly, I don't really think it matters all that much. I think we put Tatum in next, and I think if this is going to be a Klay game, our big fade is going to be Steph, and if we're hoping it stays relatively close, we want Jaylen and Tatum in there. Robert Williams is somebody who's been battling with his knee the entire series, and he's been playing limited minutes. He got extended run last game, and so that's somebody I think maybe people are going to go to because of that extended run and because he got a lot of steals and blocks, put up a good score. But they had 1 day rest. That's it, and it's a knee problem. So to me, that more so means he actually might get scaled back a little bit. So I think we want to jam a few of these Celtics in there, and we're really thinking Klay is going to go for 40, 45 tonight.
Okay, I can get behind that. Jalen's been great, probably the MVP as of right now. Jason Tatum's been awesome too in his own right, because it feels like he's getting shut down by Wiggins. It feels like he's having a hard time, but he's stuffing the sheet, man, and still producing one of the top 2 or 3 scores in each one of these games, fantasy-wise. So I can get behind that one, and I can get behind it because then now it's pretty easy to fade Marcus Smart in his lineup. And I don't know if you guys saw that incredible sleuth work I did on Marcus Smart on Twitter the other day, but where Marcus Smart goes is where the Celtics go. When he does well, they're winning these games and they're blowing them out. But when he has these poor games, they lose these games. He's the most, like, correlation-wise, and I'm sure it's not predictive necessarily, but correlation-wise, he's the key
I'm
to
with
the
you
Celtics.
there.
He's the key to the Celtics. And if we think the Celtics are going to lose today, then we can fade Marcus, and we've already got 2 Celtics. So I'm good with fading. So I'm glad you guys did that so we can fade Marcus in this lineup.
I'm 100% with you there as well, because like as a Celtics fan, somebody who's been watching them for a long time, Marcus Smart is a guy that so defensive player of the year this year, if he had the ability to just shots not falling today, I'm going to do all the other things great. He'd be truly one of the very best, and he already is pretty up there, but he'd be truly one of the very best role players in the NBA. But the thing with Marcus Smart is he's a phenomenal defender. He's a good passer, but he doesn't shut that offensive wanting to chuck off when he's not there. And so it can be detrimental when he's kind of always in attack mode on offense, as opposed to just always on defense and not always on offense. So I like the fade, and I like the team we got rolling here.
Yeah. So that's the one thing I think you can do for the rest of the playoffs, and you could have been doing the whole time, is if you think Celtics win these games, take Marcus Smart in your lineup. If you don't, fade Smart. So we're going to fade him here. Let me pick a guy. Man, this is tough. You guys pick some good players. Like, we're on Golden State. At some point, we've got to think Golden State comes through here. I'm with you guys on the Curry fade. I think I've got to have Andrew Wiggins, though. If I think Golden State is going to come out and win this game, he's their best all-around player in this series. He's the guy they need. So I understand he's pretty close to Draymond, Draymond's just not putting up the numbers for me. Like, he's the motivational guy. The numbers aren't there. So I think a lot of people will go to Draymond thinking, oh, Draymond's got to step up this game. Maybe, maybe not. But numbers-wise, I like Wiggins to do a lot of things. So I'm going to plug in Wiggins here and go with that. That's 5,400 for 2 spots left. Do we have you guys talk it through me. We have a consensus for that last spot. Who can we play here? Because we'll only do one more spot, and then we'll leave one blank.
You go, Squirrel. Sorry.
Yeah, I think TJ, you had a couple of great points there. That this is, I think, the only game in the series where it's 1 day rest. So I really want to avoid the guys who are a little bit dinged up, and that includes Steph. And then we kind of built that as the thesis for this lineup is we're fading Steph. I don't like going right back to Robert Williams, even though he looked really good last game for the first time in a while. Yeah, it's only 1 day rest. So one guy I like is maybe Gary Payton, because his injury is like a broken elbow, but it's not something where like rest is going to be an issue. It's not like a knee injury or an ankle injury or something like that. I think Golden State might need the perimeter defense on Jaylen Brown if he's having a big game. So I think of the Warriors bench crew, I think, Gary Payton, especially at a pretty appealing price, 3,200 is the guy I'm looking at.
TJ?
Interestingly enough, Peyton and somebody else were the last two I put in my little lineup that I was building here. What I love about this initial build we have with these 4 guys is there's so much you can do and so much that still correlates. With the Marcus Smart fade and with the Steph Curry fade, we can mix and match guys like Jordan Poole, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Gary Payton, and they will all make sense given the guys that we've already faded in this lineup. So the amount of salary you're leaving and the guys you choose can depend on your contest size and how different you want to get. But we got a lot of great options there that make sense with this team. And Peyton was the next guy I put in as well.
All right, I'm gonna plug in Peyton. I like that one. Fits with our narrative here on this. And I'm glad you guys brought up Robert Williams, the 1 day's rest. There are times this playoffs he's looked incredible, like unbeatable, great defender guy. And then he'll come out the next game, and it's like, damn, he's tearing them up. Like he's crushing the Celtics right now. They need to get him off the court, and it's a lot of that's due because of the injury he has. So only 1 day's rest. I wouldn't be surprised if Robert Williams comes out and is a detriment to the Celtics, in which case you can build a lineup saying what happens if Robert Williams only plays 15 minutes tonight, 12 minutes tonight. You can start looking at other guys like a Grant Williams, maybe a Grant Williams game, or Peyton Pritchard. You mentioned Peyton Pritchard. Derek White's fully engaged in this series regardless of what happens to Robert Williams. So Derek White's a guy. We could almost use – we're not going to do it. We're not going to fill out the last spot, but I wouldn't hate a Derek White in the last spot and leave like 1,600 on the table in salary and something like that. So he's in there. But let's move on to Fanduel. We got some players now that we feel good about. We've talked through. I'm going to start off with TJ. I want you to give me an MVP on Fanduel and why you're thinking that that's the MVP you want.
So I actually think there is some merit to putting Clay here as well, just because since that salary difference doesn't benefit us, it also means that nobody is going to be putting him there. And so I do think that's interesting for tournaments. I think our top option here, I do really like, especially with how the pricing lines up on FanDuel, sticking with our Curry fade. And I like the idea of running it back with Jaylen Brown in this spot as well, just because he's probably going to be the third highest owned guy there. And Tatum is, like, right now we're projecting Brown at 40% MVP, Tatum 47, and Curry 44. I do think that's going to be a bit more drastic of a difference. I think we're probably going to see Jaylen in more of like the 30 to 35 range. So I think our sneaky, if we're trying to get very different play, is running it back with Clay. But I think our best moderately contrarian option for tournaments would be Jaylen Brown.
Squirrel, what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, so I think the lack of a salary multiplier makes such a big difference. And I think so many people are going to click on either Curry or Tatum for that top MVP spot. And there's really compelling reasons to fade both of them. So yeah, I like Like Jaylen Brown probably is like the most owned, like maybe go most overweight in terms of raw percentages in the MVP spot. But yeah, if Klay Thompson comes out and shoots like 8 of 16 from 3-point range, like he could very well be the MVP at like 2% MVP ownership.
Yeah, I don't know if it was last game or game 2. I pulled up the numbers, and between Tatum and Curry, they occupied 90% of the MVP spot on FanDuel. So, if you didn't take one of those guys, if you don't take one of those guys in that top spot, you're automatically different. You're automatically in the big time minority there. So I'm definitely behind a Tatum/Curry fade in the MVP spot. I got Klay Thompson's numbers pulled up on the screen right now, and I'll pull it up to show that last game, almost 40 on FanDuel. One of the games against Dallas, a 44, a 51 against Memphis. Like, when you look at Tatum and Brown, they're not cracking 50 this series so far. They're in the mid 40s, high 40s. So he has just as much upside as those guys. He's going to check into this top spot at probably, 1-2% maybe. I think Klay might be a way to just like totally be different, but still maintain the upside and not be too crazy with it. It's not like we're putting Peyton Pritchard in the MVP, So
the way I like to look at it is like, if I'm trying to win that 100K up top in that big FanDuel contest, let's run Klay at the MVP. If I'm running a big dollar single entry, that's where we're going to see Tatum and Curry being almost the MVP 90% of the time instead of 60% of the time. And so in those tournaments, that's where I'm looking like, if I'm doing a $100 single entry, I'll put Brown there and I'll put Thompson as the star instead of the MVP, because I don't need to have him there, because there's only going to be, if there's 200 guys in that contest, there's only going to be 10 other ones who have Brown as the MVP. So that's kind of how I like to look at this, is if I'm trying to get that 100K up top, let's run Klay. If we're doing a bigger dollar single entry, I like Brown.
Yeah, I'm with that. We're trying for the big money here, so we could go Thompson and then Jaylen in the next spot. And like you said, if there's a little bit more at stake and a little bit smaller field, I might swap them, go Brown up top and then Klay. But for the sake of trying to be different for 100K up top, Klay Thompson, I'm down with that. Squirrel, you got a pro spot here that stands out to you?
I'd go with Jason Tatum, because I don't think he's gonna score 0 points, right? So he's gonna put up some numbers, and his price is just much more appealing. I guess 500 more appealing than Curry.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all, because we're still maintaining a lot of salary here. We can definitely make this happen, and I like that. So we got 2 spots here. Let's see how we can round them out. I'm not saying he's been a free square, but Derek White's salary is still very low right there. So you got Derek White can save you some money. We've talked about Gary Payton. He's really cheap over here. I'll go back to TJ here. Who's the next guy that you would jam in a lineup that looks like this?
Yeah, I think Derek White is the next guy we put in, because that gives us a lot of different opportunities. If we can go optimal with one player up top, that makes a lot of sense, especially with our Robert Williams takes. But there's also lots of ways to get different with it. We got a Curry fade, so you can go Poole after that. You can run full Celtics with Smart. You got a completely contrarian Looney. So I like going Derek White, because that gives us the flexibility to finish our lineups the way we like best, depending on the person. If we think one guy's going to have a really big game, let's plug that in. The next person I think I'd put would be Wiggins, if we want to take a look at that one instead, just because if we're fading Curry, and we got Thompson at the MVP, like Thompson's probably not going to be the only one scoring. We do need some other Golden State players. So that'd be the other look, as I like Wiggins is in our 4th spot, or Derek White in our 4th spot. And I'm kind of hoping Squirrel might be willing to hit the tiebreaker there.
I like the Wiggins call, because I think you can still leave some salary on the table there, and go with like one of the Golden State bench guys. Like you've got like Porter or Peyton at 7,500, so you're leaving 1,000 on the table, and with like Klay Thompson in the MVP spot, like that might be a non-duplicated lineup.
And especially if we're looking at Golden State to win this game, We got no Marcus Smart in there. We got no Derek White in there. It's also very interesting to leave a lot of salary on the table with somebody like Pritchard. If it's a blow, you never know who could get in there. We don't know if Iguodala is going to play. We don't know if Porter's going to play. So there's a lot of cheapies you can take some shots on with this lineup that are probably going to be not very highly owned at all.
This lineup sets up really well right now for that last spot. That last spot, we've already talked about Robert Williams. Maybe he's a bit of a fade in this game. Our guys are still down there, very affordable. Grant Williams and Peyton Pritchard. Either one of those guys could benefit from Robert Williams not playing as many minutes tonight. That would leave us a good lineup, a solid lineup with some salary on the table. We don't even have to save salary. We're already different with Klay Thompson. With Jason Tatum in the pro spot and not the top 2 spots, we're automatically way different. So we could do whatever right there in that last spot, and we'd still be different. But, yeah, if we're going with the Robert Williams struggling with his knee game, I don't mind Grant Williams in that last spot. I don't mind just because it's 3 Celtics doesn't mean, it still fits our narrative of Golden State performing well. Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins, that's where we spent a lot of salary at right there. So, yeah, I think this team shapes up really good. Are we on board with Grant Williams in that last spot?
Yeah, I think you pick at the end of the day leading into the slate. So who knows the type of news we hear about Robert Williams here. If we get some type of minutes restriction, that might boost Grant Williams' ownership. You pick Williams or Pritchard, whichever one's lower owned, whichever one's projected for lower ownership, because Williams is a bit safer. He's going to play more minutes. Pritchard has a higher ceiling. He's a better point per dollar guy. So I think you just pick simply whichever one is lower owned. And at this time, Grant Williams.
Yeah. Squirrel, you got anything on that?
Yeah, I think I'd like the Grant Williams call. He seemed to eat into Derek White's minutes a little bit. But yeah, I agree. I think if Robert Williams is a little bit dinged up, he's not reacting well on a day's rest, I think that's a good call.
All right. I think that's going to wrap it up, guys. That's both sites we ran through. I think you see where our heads are at in this game. We're feeling Golden State, and we're feeling Klay Thompson tonight. And our specific fades started with Curry and then Marcus Smart. And, so that's just our opinion. That's our idea. So these guys are pretty smart. I'm going to ride with them. So we appreciate you tuning in, guys. Game 5, there will be a Game 5, and it'll be Monday. So there will be a show on Monday for this. And until then, though, enjoy your weekends. Get in all that good sports this weekend, guys. We appreciate you tuning in. For Squirrel, for TJ, I'm your host, Headchopper, and we're out of here.